I'd like to call the regular meeting of April 14th, 2014 to order. If anybody wishes to address the board or make any comments during the public participation, there are forms at the back table that you could fill out and forward them to the table, and then we'll call you up when we get to that portion of our agenda. Could I have roll call, please?
Mr. Kudrick?
Present.
Ms. Bowles? Here. Ms. Kraut?
Here?
Mr. Theed?
Present.
Ms. Funderburk? Here. Ms. Beard?
Here.
Ms. Buckley is here.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, and I need to make this amended. Items A and B are okay, where it says item C. That item C shouldn't be there. Item D should actually be item C. Item E is D. Item F is E on down. Item G is F. Item H is G. And item I is H.
Can you say that again for me?
Just
Okay.
cross out C.
Just
and
take
Cross
out
out
C.
C,
then just start-
reorder them.
and then starting with item D, change that to C on down.
This is C. E. No, wait. A, B. So D is C. D.
Yep. And it should end with H.
Yep. H.
Okay, with that being amended, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If any member of the board or any citizen requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will become the first item of business under the report of the superintendent portion of the agenda. Item A is to approve the minutes of the Board of Education of the regular meeting of March 24th, 2014, and the study session of April 7th, 2014. Item B is to approve the personnel actions as submitted by Rebecca Peck, Director of Human Resources. Employment of paraprofessional special education student aide at Romulus High School. An REA extended leave of absence for 2014 school year at the middle school. There's two positions at the middle school and one elementary, and two elementary teachers.
Excuse me, Madam President.
Yeah.
We deleted C, right?
No,
Well,
no. B just got cut
B is actually, C is actually B.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry.
Okay, I understand now.
Okay, the next item is a Local 64 recall of a Cafeteria 1 dishwasher server at the middle school. Resignation of Local 64 is Cafeteria 1 at the Romulus Middle School. Head bookkeeper for Romulus Community Schools. There's an REA termination of a special education teacher at the middle school. And then Local 64 layoffs, which was the safety monitors due to privatization. Item C is to approve the bills for payment as submitted by Anna Bosides, Interim Director of Business and Operations, in the amount of $3,103,278.17. D is to approve the proposed field trip to Traverse City, Michigan from April 23rd through the 26th of 2014 for the Romulus Senior High HOSA students to participate in the HOSA State Conference as proposed at no cost to the district. E is to approve the proposed field trip to San Antonio, Texas from July 6th through the 11th of 2014 for the Romulus Senior High qualifying FCCLA students to attend the FCCLA National Leadership Conference as proposed at no cost to the district. F, to approve the proposed field trip to Sandusky, Ohio on May 13th, 2014 for the Romulus Senior High physics students to attend a math and science day at Cedar Point as proposed at no cost to the district. And G, to approve the proposed field trip to Sandusky, Ohio on May 17th, 2014 for Romulus Middle School band and leadership students as proposed for reward at no cost to the district. And H, to approve the proposed field trip to Ortonville, Michigan for April 30th through May 2nd, 2014 for fifth grade students at Barth Elementary School as proposed at no cost to the district. Can I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mrs. Buckley. Is there any discussion?
Discussion
Mrs. Bowles?
Yes.
on part of B, and then also on the C through H that we have. I just have a question, I didn't get the answer. Are we gonna be voting separately on these items?
No, it would be one vote to approve them all under the consent agenda.
Okay, I have a couple of questions on
Okay.
C through H and also part of C.
Okay, you mentioned B. What do you
Yeah.
want to do with B?
I would like to request that the local number 64 layoff part be separate, removed from the consent agenda, and voted on separately.
Safety monitor? The recalls or the, which, all of it, all of 64?
Or just the layoff?
Just the privatization first.
So the safety monitors, right?
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Fun, oh, was that it?
And then I do have some questions on the item C through H as well too, in regards to how it's written up.
Okay, item C is for the bills of payment.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I keep
That's
getting
okay.
that wrong. D, I'm sorry, through H.
Okay. What is your questions for D through H?
Okay. Gotta get them renumbered. In regards to the transportation field, or for the field trips, in regards to the transportation, I'm noticing, I was looking at it and on, well, we have this one is noted as D now, but on some of them, the motion says in there, at no cost to the district, but then on the other ones, it says that it's nothing in there in regards to it being no cost to the district. So then when I looked on the second page, under the mode of transportation, I noticed that some of them were marked as needed transportations and others weren't. So I'm a little confused upon, are they all at no cost to the district? And if so, can we make sure we put that in the motion for each and every last one of them?
Well, they're at no cost because on some of them, they're arranging their own transportation.
But it says, is district transportation needed? So I took that as that mean that they need our approval.
The Traverse City one has it marked as district transportation needed.
Right,
And then there's another one that has it marked that way too. Give me a second to grab it.
that one's a no.
The one for the Cedar Point on May 17, 2014. So this would have been, let's see, it's 8. So this would have been item G. It says it doesn't have at no cost to the district in the motion part either. But then when you look at the mode of transportation on the back of the sheet, it says, is district transportation needed? And they have yes now for that one too. So I was just confused, because the only one that I saw that was kind of written up correctly, that, to me, that I could understand, was the one
Well, when
that's
they
G.
use district transportation, what happens is the transportation then bills that group, and that group then pays for the charges that are incurred for the transportation.
Okay, well, is there any way we can still put it in our motion though, at least so that it's all one unit for each and every last one of them? It is for this one.
It is up for all.
For all of
Because
them.
this is what we're approving, and it
It
says,
says
At no
each
cost to the
one
district
says-
on all of them.
and
Okay,
this is what we're approving.
okay, but when we read it, then it's
No,
not
we're
gonna
not
say
reading
that.
it. It's here. We're not
Okay,
reading
you're
it
not gonna
twice.
read it, you're just gonna do it on this one.
We're-
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Mrs. Funderburg, you had discussion?
Well, not to confuse everybody, but kind of going back to Mika's question is, some of them are coming out of CTE accounts, which is budgeted as part of the school. So technically, it would be at a cost to the school, but it's already been budgeted within that school year. Am I correct?
Those are CTE funds and.
Right.
And we get that money back. I mean, it's a grant.
So, I mean, but I guess what I'm saying is that technically the school is paying for it because it's coming out of the school budget. It's just already been budgeted for that particular department. So to say at no cost to the district would be inaccurate because there is a cost. It's just been budgeted for already.
Through the CTE funds.
Right. So, I mean, some of them have at no cost to the district in the motion, but then other ones have the CTE account and students as the budget implication. So I guess, so like for
Out of
instance,
the general fund would probably be the correct way to say it, that it's no cost there.
Okay.
Whether it be a grant that's funded the transportation or whatever, but it would not come out of the general funding or
Okay.
anything at all.
So then the motion should be adjusted for where it's coming out of the grant fund. It should say at no cost to the general fund.
At no cost to the district from the general fund? So for items D through H,
well, it's not.
it's not off, it's not.
It would be for all of them. So like for instance, HOSA is CTE and students. So that one's correct because it doesn't say at no cost to the district.
No, it does
Well,
on
it
the-
does in
It
the,
does
it
on
does in
this.
the consent agenda.
Right.
This is what we're looking
Right.
at. They ain't even looking at that.
Right, well,
It's
I'm
this
looking at
right
the motion, the motion sheets.
Yeah, but there's, we're going off. the-
But we're doing it from the consent agenda, though.
All right.
And from the consent agenda, they all say at no cost to the district.
So what are we doing?
I think the ones that are CTE should just be adjusted to at no cost to the district from the general fund.
Okay, so that would be, let's see,
Just moving
item
around, that's all it
D
is.
would be at no cost to the at no cost to the district
From general fund.
from general funds.
That's what's-
Item E
Yeah.
would be the same, no cost to the district from general funds.
Good catch.
Item F would stay the way it's stated, because it's student funded. Item G I'm not sure about G. Oh,
Fundraising fund.
yeah, it's from fundraising, so that'd be, stay the same as no
Yeah.
cost to the district. And then H is student funded fundraising, so that would be no cost from general fund either.
So we just have to.
So just two. So item D and item E, we're adding language at no cost to the district from general funds. Okay, so I have a motion by Mr. Kudrick.
I still have a G.
I'm sorry.
I have a concern about G,
Okay,
which is it is the FCC RHS band and leadership students. On the paperwork, they only have 2 chaperones for 70 kids. I just wanted to know, are they anticipating getting more chaperones for this event? How's that working?
I will check into that, because right now I just know the two.
Okay, so I guess my next question should be, should we pull this out and wait until we get an answer? Or do we wanna just approve it tonight and just have you come back with they're adding more people? I guess my thing is, they need to have more than 2 chaperones.
what if
for
we
70
approve it
kids.
and say with additional chaperones?
Okay.
Well, how
That's
many chaperones do you think they should have?
You got 70 students and
70
you're
So
going,
Kids with
I'm just
two,
saying,
yeah.
we do need more, but is
I
there a
would think
certain
it would at
number?
least be,
Five at least?
1 to every 15.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we.
okay.
we mentioned
Well, then we need to
15
say
or
that,
20.
because they might come back and say, we added one more to it. So I'm just
Right.
saying, let's just make sure we say what we mean and mean what we say.
And that would be item H, no, I'm sorry, item G, at no cost to the district, and with additional chaperones at, how many students did we
1 to
say?
15 students.
1 to 15 to 1 ratio.
1 to 15 students per
15 to
chaperone.
1 ratio, yeah. Be good.
I believe we
What is,
had that
what's
before.
the, do we have, policy on a norm on that, or no?
I was gonna ask, is there a norm?
There's no policy.
It depends on.
I know
ages,
elementary,
too.
we do
Yeah,
10 to
Yeah,
1.
I guess it's probably the age and
I know we've
all that.
discussed that before,
Students,
though.
Yeah,
Right. So is everybody happy with those changes that we've just discussed right now?
I'm good.
Okay, so then we have a motion by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Ms. Buckley, for the amended consent agenda with the pull-off of the Local 64 layoffs to be voted on separately, the changing of the wording on item D, E, and G. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, we'll go and we'll do the item that Mrs. Bowles pulled off, which was the
Yeah.
layoffs. That goes back under the superintendent report then, and we do that separately.
It's separate.
Okay, so that'll become. Okay, reported superintendent then, Mrs. Smith-Canali.
Good evening, everyone. First, we're going to do some recognition tonight of some outstanding high school ACT scores. And I'm going to turn it over to Miss Beard as she presents the certificates of achievement to these students. So when your name's called, come on forward.
What we have for tonight is student recognition for Romulus High School's outstanding ACT scores. And the certificate reads, Romulus Community Schools Certificate of Academic Achievement. In recognition for being an exemplary Romulus High School student with an outstanding composite score, which I'll read when you come up, on the American College Test, awarded this 14th day of April 2014, signed by myself, Teresa Beard, and Interim Superintendent Margie McNally. The first person I'd like to recognize is Caitlin Burke.
Is Caitlin here? Come on up, Caitlin.
Had a score of 29 on her ACT and scored a perfect reading score of 36. Kevin Crawford.
Is Kevin here?
Okay. Ken, I'm gonna slaughter it. Gaiaski.
Smart man, smart man.
Congratulations for the score of 28.
Wow,
Nice.
30. He got 30, actually.
30.
30.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did. I was reading the wrong one. Okay.
In case you didn't hear, it was 30.
Right.
Congratulations. Zach Kuba. Miranda Moffett. Miranda scored a score of 30.
Wow.
Michael Thomas. Oh, I'm sorry,
Michaela.
Michaela Thomas. Michaela scored 28.
Nice job. Can we give those individuals another round of applause?
Yeah.
That is outstanding.
It's a big deal.
As interim superintendent, that's an accomplishment that you all should be proud of. It takes a lot to get a 36 on a reading, right? Congratulations on perfect score. And all of your hard work, it pays off. So you've got one more year of high school after this one, and then you're college bound. So congratulations. The next recognition that we want to do is for Romulus High School FCCLA, group that went to Midland to represent the school in their competition, and Miss Beard has those.
Okay, and our recognitions read, the Romulus Community Schools honors these students who are receiving gold level recognition at Michigan State FCCLA Leadership Conference in recognition for being an exemplary Romulus High School student and placing first in their team event and qualifying to compete at the National Leadership Conference, San Antonio, Texas. Awarded this 14th day of April 2014, and it's signed by myself, Teresa Beard, and Interim Superintendent Margie McNally. And the first student we have is Rayshawn Atkins.
We have a lot of baseball and softball
Okay.
in that roster.
Misty Briscoe. Rachel Funderburg.
Drama.
Taryn Garrison.
Yay.
Mercedes Hester.
Soccer,
Deontay Hill.
baseball,
Zach Kuba. Baseball. Malik Mallard. Baseball. Taylor Morgan.
Working.
Jeremiah Posey. Ursamo Sanchez. Samantha Stove. Stovey. Congratulations. Chase Vondrak. Sarah Wadsworth. Brooke Walden. Krista Wolkowitz. Elena Wilson. And Brandon Wojciechowski.
baseball.
Need help on that one.
Exactly.
Would Mrs. Willard like to?
Would you like to say a few things?
Oh, well, we just want to thank you guys for your continued support of FCCLA, both the board, administrators, and the community. We had just a fabulous showing at the state leadership meeting. I think that my favorite.
Mrs. Willard, can you buy the mic, please? We're recording.
I just want to say that my
You
favorite.
gotta turn it on. Top button. Top button. That's at the top.
There we go.
There we go.
I just want to say that we just had a remarkable showing of our students this year, and from an advisor's perspective, my favorite accomplishment of the students this year was that they won the Youth at its Best Award, which is awarded to the chapter based on the observations of the conference staff that demonstrates the highest level of professionalism and poise. And this was just a fabulous group, and I'm just so, so proud of them. So thanks for taking the time to recognize their efforts.
Mrs. Willerick?
Oh.
We'll let you
Thank
present
you
them
for
to
your
once
hard
again.
work too with
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And the last recognition is for our athletic director, Mark Woodson. Would you please come forward, sir?
Okay, tonight we have a resolution honoring Mark Woodson, 2013 Regional Athletic Director of the Year. Whereas Mark Woodson has been in the education field for over 20 years and is completing his 15th year at Romulus Community Schools, where he will have served as athletic director for 15 years. And whereas Mark Woodson is a member of the Western Wayne Athletic Conference, where he has earned Regional Coach of the Year in 1998, in 1997, in 1998 he was the Associated Press Football Coach of the Year, and in 1988 and 1999 he was the News Herald Football Coach of the Year. And whereas Mark Woodson currently serves as the MHSAA Representative Council, which helps to oversee all athletics in the state of Michigan, serves on the Lacrosse and Basketball Officials Committee with the MHSAA and Football Task Force Committee. And whereas Mark Woodson is recognized by his leadership skills with the Western Wayne Athletic Directors Association and athletic directors from Etzel Ford and Dearborn Fordson praise Mark's ability to handle all issues with dignity and class as an example that all athletic directors can learn from. He is truly a worthy recipient of this award. His dedication to high school athletics is to be commended. They join the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administration Association in honoring Mark Woodson. And whereas the MIAAA has over 50 years of experience with membership exceeding 700, serving as athletic administrators in high schools, junior high, middle schools in Michigan. As partners with the Michigan High School Athletic Association, the MIAAA works to promote the education value of interscholastic athletics and the role of athletic administrators. Now therefore be it resolved that Romulus Board of Education is proud to honor Mr. Mark Woodson, Director of Athletics, Romulus Community Schools, as the 2013 Region 12 Athletic Administrator of the Year, as selected by the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators for the state of Michigan. Signed by Teresa Beard and Margie McNally.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Gotta use,
I know, right?
gotta use the mic.
Speech.
I'd say thank you all, and the things I was able to accomplish, I couldn't accomplish those things without the support of the board members and administration team here. But again, no matter what I could have done here, I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have your support and backing and background and supporting me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I think so.
Make motions.
Yeah, we do. She's gonna go through each one, I think.
She will.
We do.
Oh, you need,
Yeah, we need a motion.
Right. Madam Chair, I move that we accept the resolutions as read by our President, Teresa Beard.
Support.
Motion made by Ms. Funderburk, supported by Mr. Kudrick. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. And could I have them, that's for all resolutions,
Yep.
correct?
A, B, and C.
Thank you. The next item is RISA's enhancement millage. And what they want to do is all counties in Wayne, they would like to put up 2 mills up on the ballot for August with, that would bring money into our district at 1.3 million for the next 8 years. That would be an annual amount of money. And they're looking for us to make a board resolution to have them or allow them to put it out to the individuals. It's on the back or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
I'm trying to get there, I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to find it.
It's on the back of one of the items.
This right here. It's in that bag.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
Yep.
Okay, Madam Chair, you need a motion, right?
Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Move that the Board of Education adopt resolution in support of regional enhancement millage and request that the Wayne submit it to its electors the question of a regional enhancement millage proposal for 2 mills for a period of 6 years, 2014 to 2019, inclusive at the state primary election to be held on August 5th, 2014 pursuant to a ballot proposal substantially in the form attached hereto at Exhibit A. Rationale, at the board's pleasure, for the purpose of enhancing other state and local funding for local school districts' operating purposes, if approved by the majority of the intermediate school district's electors.
Support.
Discussion.
Motion made by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mrs. Funderburg. Mrs. Kraut.
I give it a lot of thought, and I was voted to represent not only the children, but the resident taxpayers. And because we are a hold harmless district, I do not think the taxpayers would want me to support an additional 2 Mills County school tax ballot, so I will have to vote no.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Ms. Funderburg.
Madam Chair, I got one question, just clarification. The superintendent mentioned a dollar figure, 1.3. Was that 1.3 for the life of the millage or 1.3 per year?
Per year,
Okay.
annually.
And that would help. And this actually, it's not just the Romulus residents, it's a call across the whole county. So if the countywide votes it, every district in Wayne County of public schools gets it, not charter schools.
Correct.
But the other thing that we discussed at our study session in regards to this was that giving the voters an opportunity to vote on it is really our purpose tonight. We're not enacting 2 mills. We're just voting, saying, yes, we want to give the opportunity of our voters to have, so that they can vote on it. And so that's the reason for this evening and for this particular motion.
And I simply looked at it as, it wouldn't be what Romulus voted, it would be what the county voted, so we wouldn't really have the say, is how I look at it.
No, Romulus would have a say. I mean, our votes all count, so whoever.
Right, but only based on the whole county total.
The whole
And
county,
we're
right.
a small portion of the county, so even though Romulus might have turned it down, the county could have proved it.
Right.
And then
I agree
the
with
taxpayers are
that.
still gonna
But then
have to
everybody
pay for
still
it.
pays
Right.
the tax.
Because probably, in actuality, it might be on the ballot, so. Yeah, and we're gonna have to pay it too, so.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mrs. Funderburg. Is there any more discussion? Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Cooterick?
Yes.
Ms. Bowles?
No.
Ms. Kraut?
No.
Mr. Theed?
Yes,
Ms. Buckley votes yes. Ms. Funderburg?
Yes.
Ms. Beard?
Yes. Motion carries 5-2.
Thank you. The next item is dealing with our ABM, where they came in to save us energy, and we asked what should be our next move. And Rebecca and I looked into getting a quote to you about having someone oversee the project. And I'm gonna turn it over to Rebecca,
So, we went to RISA and we asked for their help with this process and kind of asked for some guidance from them. Without having a business director here, we use RISA regularly to support us.
I'm sorry, Ms. Beck, if there's any members of the audience that were here for the presentation, feel free, if you need to leave, or if you want to leave, you're more than welcome to. We know you have some young kids with you too, if you don't want to stay for the business portion of the meeting. It's totally up to you. We welcome you being here, but you're more than welcome to leave.
Ms. Beard?
I'm sorry.
Don't forget, we still have to vote.
Yeah, I have it. We're gonna probably put it at the end of the superintendent's report.
That's not what it states in our consent agenda. It says it will be the first item.
First item of
Oh, it does.
Like I said, it should really have gone before. It really should have gone before the presentation.
Oh,
Just didn't want the people
Well,
to
it
see
should
it.
have gone before.
During this politics game.
so we wanna do it right now and then
Yes.
hold off on,
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Sorry about that.
Sure you are.
Let's just do it.
I believe the other items are discussion items. This would be the only other item with action, so we'll put it up. We'll do it next. Okay, the item that was removed from the consent agenda, which was Local 64 layoffs amended. Could I please have a motion to, the motion reads, pursuant to board action on the privatization of safety monitor operations, move that the Board of Education of Romulus Community Schools accept the recommendation of administration to lay off the following number of local 64 positions from their employment with the school district. Safety monitor driver, 7 safety monitors, effective at the end of the day, which was March 28, 2014. And this meets the contractual notification timelines per Article 8, layoff, recall, Section 1 layoff. And this is based on the deficit elimination plan for 2013-14 school year.
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Ms. Funderburg, supported by Mrs. Buckley.
There, I found it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion carries 5-2. And I apologize for not moving that to the first item. Okay, I'm sorry, Mrs. Peck. You're on now.
Well, you made many young people's day, because I think they were being so polite. I spoke with Risa. Margie and I met with Risa along with Anna to talk at length about how we could manage a performance contract, which is essentially what we've been talking about with ABM. Our concern was that we were going into this without good counsel, without having a depth of knowledge on it. Risa had suggested that if most districts or many districts in similar situations to ours go under contract with what's called a performance contracting or an owner's rep. So that's somebody that works for the district on behalf of the district, and their sole purpose is to protect the interests and assets of Romulus Community Schools. They come to us with experience in the field of putting out performance bonds, doing the RFPs, analyzing them, determining if this in fact is the best way for us to utilize our resources. They have engineers on staff. I have today somebody that we contacted, Kurt Carter from Performance Contracting, and he's agreed to come in and answer any questions that you might have with regard to how a performance contractor owner's rep works with school districts and what are some of the things that you would expect from them. But as I did an overview for you, they would be in charge of the preliminary project review. So they would look for additional vendors that we would use. The process planning ensures greater competition, which is something that we were concerned about as well as the board, making sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck. You know, when there's competition added to the mix, you definitely get a little bit more when you pay for it. This owner's rep would conduct board and board committee presentations to keep you in the loop, as well as our community. They would assist with the evaluation of the bids, the proposals as they come in. They would address district concerns in deciding whether we want to utilize performance contracting or if we want to go a different route for improving our facilities or really at this point maintaining our facilities. They would draft the RFP, which is a pretty big process, preliminary and final. These companies review and evaluate proposal for the appropriateness of the scope of recommendations and the reasonableness of costs, which is a big concern of ours when it comes to performance contracts, because the way they're written, they're guaranteeing a certain amount of energy savings, as we know. But we have to make sure that that's well written in the contract, and there aren't, not that vendors are trying to trick us or anything, but we want somebody that is looking at that with the fine-tooth and going through it with the fine-tooth comb and making sure that, yes, that's a valid way of determining performance, and kind of tightening those pieces up. They help recommend with the recommendation of vendors and negotiating costs. From the research that I've done, the owner's reps do not have any relationship with any vendor. That's a requirement of an owner's rep. They solely work for the Romulus Community Schools. There's no sidebar relationships going on. I'll get you this contract if, that type of thing. They do assist in the final scope selection. And then they assist in the contract review and the wording to mitigate any financial risks associated with those savings pieces. They also work directly throughout the entire project itself. If the board decides they want to go through this process and we do a renovation project, they work directly with the district on managing the project or the work.
And what kind of guarantee is there that we won't have the problem that we had like when we installed the 3 new boilers?
Right, I think where this will help us is that this is a true owner's rep scenario. They work only for us. So there isn't, their engineers are designing the specs on these, on the projects that we want to move forward with. Those engineers are working with the bidder, whoever wins the bid, and there's no blurry line as to who works for whom. Those engineers work for us through the owner's rep. And if there's something wrong with the spec that they wrote, they're guaranteeing that they're gonna make sure that whoever bids on these projects is gonna be within the engineering spec of what we created, not, you know.
For the proper use of our building,
Yes,
for what it needs, right?
correct.
Question for you. What's the approximation or estimated cost of this service?
So it varies depending on which vendor that you go with, but the majority of the cost is tied right back to the project size that you decide to do. And it's usually a percentage of that project size.
What's the percentage usually?
It, for some of the companies that we talked to, it went all the way from 2%, 2.5% for a $10 million project, all the way up to 5% on a $1 million project. You know, 5 and 6, 7%. It depends on the contract,
Okay.
the company that we talk with. A couple of the companies that I talked with, including the one that's here today to answer any any questions that I can't answer, a couple of them have agreements in theirs that if you decide after you go through this process and you analyze your systems and you go through the RFP process, you do all of that, the board decides, you know, this is not the right time for us. We want to, you know, maybe we want to go for a bond, or we want to do something different a year from now. Maybe the financial landscape changes between now and that decision point 3 or 4 months from now. We walk away from that. The owner's rep, they get a very small fee. It's like $1,500 or $2,000 a month to kind of get this project started. But if the board decides that they don't want to do it, we haven't committed a volume of money to anybody. Now, if we do commit, if we do it, then obviously we would adhere to the contract on the percentage that the owner's rep would use.
So is it a by project that they get the percentage, or are we talking about contracting them out like month by month as we use them, kind of like a consulting service, or is it gonna be like one flat rate?
It would be, if we go into contract with them, so we pay that month by month fee as we're setting up the project, but that amount comes off if we decide we're gonna do the big project, we're gonna go ahead and do the $2 million renovation. That amount that we've already paid up until that point comes off the top. That's that part of that 5 or 6%, whatever is, or 4%, you know, wherever we land on the scale. So we're kind of buying some peace of mind. That's kind of how I think about it when I was reading through the owner's rep concept.
Now, as far as them, how we pay them, are we paying them from like our general fund, or is that their services rolled into the project and if we were to get a bond?
Yeah.
Would the bond cover their fees, or are we talking about taking it out of general fund?
The monthly fees that we're paying up front, that we would need to pay out of our regular funds. We can't roll that into the bond. And correct me if I'm wrong, please, the project itself can be part of our whole bond project. So we can roll that cost into that piece.
But the initial cost just to get started has to come out of the general fund.
It would. Now, it's not, you know, but it's not the volumes of money that I thought it was going to be. I was really pleasantly surprised that we could probably get a good solid structure for $6,000 to $8,000 and then make the decision from there. And Kurt, did you have something to add to that?
No, that's, you got, there's a lot there. You got that stated very, very well.
I've read up a lot on this.
The $1,500 a month, as you stated, is to, just to basically cover expenses throughout the development process. And then that way, if you, for whatever reason whatsoever, there's no qualifier on that, doesn't matter why, you don't need a reason why, you just decide not to move forward. Or in some cases, in several cases, we've recommended a district not move forward if we thought that there was a better purchasing avenue for you to get that work done. We've actually recommended that for 2 districts. Excuse me. And in that case, you just have the fees that have been paid to date.
Is there like a 30, 60, or a 90-day commitment as far as that, those first 3 months of that contract? So like, say for instance, if it's a 6 months, are we talking about we've paid monthly up until 6 months? Or how does that work?
Okay, if I understood the question correctly, you're not let's just say we, at least with my agreement, I can't speak for anybody else's, but if you started that $1,500 a month and within 30 days you said, oh, we're not gonna go that route, you're done. You don't have any minimum monthly number of months committed.
Okay.
In reality, in going through a project, usually we know within usually about 60 days if there's a project really there. Like in this case, ABM came in and did a preliminary work, so they already have shown that there is a project there. And then we want to bring some other vendors in to get them up to speed, make sure you have strong competition in the project. And then to get through the process, actually get the RFP out, have the vendors do all their work up on it and their investigation and then the proposals, that probably would take more in the 3 to 6 month period. But you can stop at any point, in time up through there.
I have a question.
Yes,
In
ma'am.
regards to the way the payments are set up, if we were to go into the project and then like we pay the whole flat rate up front and then we find out that we don't want to do it, is there a certain percentage that we get back if it hasn't been started? If it's not, or is it once you pay it, it's a done deal?
Well, actually, the way it's put together, you wouldn't have to pay that. So for instance, if I'm understanding
So
correctly.
you got a payment plan? I mean, I
well,
just need
it's-
basic.
No,
basic.
that's a great question. The monthly payment is always billed in arrears after the month's consulting.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get up to the point where you decide to go forward with a project, that fee, that percentage, is also contingent upon you not only going forward, but it presumes that you either have the money or that you're going to finance it. So let's say something happened and you wanted to finance it and you found that you couldn't finance it, even though you wanted to move forward. In that case, you would be making the decision maybe not to move forward because the financing wasn't available. And in that case, you don't have the percentage fee. You only have that monthly amount. So there's not a gotcha in there.
Okay.
No, you don't have to pay a percentage of that fee. That fee is only if the district moves forward. I mean, once you make everything comes back in, we get the bids, we review them, we select a vendor, and a project, the scope, everything we want to move forward, and we have the contracts, and, you decide, we don't want to sign these contracts. Or we couldn't get the financing.
But you would still keep the amount that we put forward. That's my
The
question.
$1,500 per month,
Right.
yes, that's non-refundable.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just covering expenses. It's not even covering all the expenses, but we're not able to operate, gratis up through, 6 months worth of work.
So I guess then we would be paying for the RFP process, and if we decided to proceed, then whatever funding that we secured would then come out as you are managing the project? Is that how?
May I?
Sure.
Let's just say it's $1,500 a month, and let's say it took 6 months. So you'd have $1,500 a month for 6 months, and at that point you went forward. It was financed. We've done most of our work is in the development end.
Okay.
In a performance contract, you're dealing with one main prime contractor. So if there's any problems, they all go through them. We help assist if there are any problems. We try through the contract, the development process, to eliminate those. But probably 95% of our work is in that development process, to make sure that you got a good deal, that the savings are there, that the contract's in place, the right vendor, you you've got a single point of contact, with the vendor. And so at that point, when the project moves forward and you sign the construction papers and get the loan, at that point, when you get your money from the bank, then you would pay us that fee, the percentage fee, less a retainage fee, or I shouldn't say a retainage fee, but less a retainage, excuse me, which would be, I think it was $3,000, which is held, and let's just say the vendor took a year to install the project. That last $3,000 would be held until that year is done and that project is fully completed.
Now, is there any supervision from you all during the project? Like when they.
During construction.
During construction.
Okay, the answer is not on site, no. We would be doing some, it would not be on site like a normal construction manager, because the performance contracting company has a construction manager.
Okay.
So it doesn't make sense to pay an additional party to manage the manager. In normal bid spec work, normal construction work, you have many subcontractors, you have a construction manager, you might have an owner's rep, and usually in that role, an owner's rep only gets hired after the construction is signed, and you go out to construction, you start the construction process. The owner's rep is basically just on site to make sure that the equipment goes in as planned.
Okay.
In this case, you've got one party responsible and an extensive contract that spells out every detail of what has to go in. So we do get involved to make sure that every month when their payment request comes through, we're back out making sure, okay, did they install 20% of the lighting?
Okay.
And that. So
So
we are
that-
following up on that process, but I want to be very clear that it does not mean that we would have somebody on site, that whole time. It really isn't. It's a small gain to the district, but it would be a very large expense to the district to provide that service.
But you would be available, like you said, when those payments come up.
And anything else.
And anything else. If there was a punch list of here's all the things that have to be done before payment is going to be provided to you, you would make sure that you're reviewing that with our internal person that's overseeing the project.
Absolutely. In fact, what I would have seen on our other projects is the construction goes pretty smoothly. Once in a while, there's a hiccup that we get re-involved in. And then when the project comes to closeout, or not only for each of those monthly payments, we're involved for that, but then when we come to closeout, there's usually a binder that you have to go through that goes through every system installed. There's a lot of closeout issues to make sure that things are set up properly and that the contract's followed, and then we're heavily involved in that as well. And then there's a follow-up step, is that the vendor, they'll have the first year after installation, they have to measure the savings, the energy savings and energy consumption. We're tracking it throughout the year to compare against their report. We don't want you to just, a year from completion of the project, go, oh, we made the savings or we didn't.
Right.
We want to track it throughout that year to say, it's on track or it's not. If it's not, why? What can proactively be done?
Right.
So the main thing is, the important thing is we get the right equipment in. And so if we have 4 RFPs and all 4 different companies say, this is the boiler they want, it's your job to make sure we get the right boiler, correct, or the right lighting. If there's 4 different companies saying 4 different types of lighting, it's going to be your job to come in and say, no, this is what they need out of those 4.
Actually, that's an excellent question.
The main thing is not to get the wrong equipment in.
Right.
And get the right, because we don't have the experience to do that. So I think, is this what you do?
Let me restate that a little bit, if I may, because there's a couple of points that came out to me in your question. One is, the RFP goes out, and in performance contracting, the best way to draft an RFP is fairly generic, in that we want the vendors to come in and each to give us their best ideas.
Right.
We don't want to tell them what the best idea is.
Yeah, we don't want nothing obsolete in 3
No,
years.
well,
either,
so if we get 3 vendors to come in and competitively bid this, we want the best ideas from every vendor, and then we're going to review all of those ideas. And then as we move forward, and there's a great example, Yale schools. We got a good vendor. We move forward, and as we moved into construction, actually just before we signed the contracts, we're looking through some of the details of the lighting, found that the lighting that was planned, the vendor, the subcontractor planned, was a national brand fluorescent lights. I think it was Sylvania. But the ballasts that they had paired with those, although they would work, they were not a type that was recommended by the manufacturer. In fact, the manufacturer said if you use those type of ballasts, we're going to void your 5-year warranty. And so we made the vendor put in the right ballasts before we moved forward. So that was something that we caught going into the project. I do want to correct one thing because I think it came up and I think Rebecca mentioned it and it was almost correct, but I want to be clear on it. Our firm isn't actually doing architectural design. So we're not going to put a spec out and says you're going to use this type of boiler. We're going to put an RFP out that says we want your best ideas, and then we're going to have a licensed professional engineer review each of those, and we're reviewing the savings, reviewing the equipment, the specifications, the costs, and how they're planning on operating the system to look to see if we think that it's going to work smoothly.
With
And
our
then-
system.
With your system.
And need too, right? I mean, we could have a building that does not need a boiler, and we don't want them to say it needs a boiler.
That is correct. I've seen situations where might be a great vendor, contractor, but they have a high incentive to sell as much equipment as they can. And if you've got 10 years life left on a boiler, and the increase in efficiency is marginal, it might make a lot more sense to keep running that boiler for a few more years. And in that case, we'd recommend, let's put your money somewhere where you get a better return for it.
Unless it's killing you on maintenance every month.
And we take that into account as well.
Okay.
So you just make sure that predominantly your engineer just makes sure that all the equipment is compatible.
Yes, and also if we've seen any problems with a
You'll be able to
particular
assess
brand,
that.
yeah, we'll say, you know, we've seen problems in the field with this brand of boiler. We don't recommend it.
Okay.
That type of issue.
Okay.
I think there's two things I'd like to just say briefly that most districts overlook in these projects. Number one, these are very high dollar projects. You're usually talking upwards of $1 million. In the last month, I just reviewed 2 projects for a district out of state that totaled $10 million. Not bid properly, the difference in pricing, in fact, Yale Schools was a good example. They had a vendor bid it. They got one main bid back. They had a small company that bid it that they didn't care for, but they got one main bid back. We negotiated it, and then we decided with the district together that it should be rebid. So we took them, because they engaged us at the tail end of the process. We took it back through the bidding process, and we took a $1.7 million initial bid that the vendor said was a wonderful deal, and we got 2 out of 3 bids came back in at $1 million. It was $700,000 cheaper out of $1.7 million. That's a lot of money for the district. We were able to get several hundred thousand of more work done and still end up 25% under the original estimate.
Was that like an energy bond savings kind of thing?
It is.
Where it
Usually,
didn't really come out of the general fund per se?
most of these projects, they can be funded different ways, and the bond council will usually get engaged and help with that. But they can be funded through energy bonds, qualified zone academy bonds. We've done a few bonds in the last year that were done through qualified zone academy bonds, which were at 0% interest. Generally, you don't see as many of those going this year, but generally they're very low interest, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 or 3%, depends on the market at the time.
And the goal of those is the money you're saving with the new equipment, the better efficiency equipment will pay for those bonds. Where if we have to replace this equipment out of our general fund, it's gonna deplete.
That's exactly the point. In moving forward with a project like this, we work with the district to see what your goals are, but generally, most of the districts have expressed to us that they want to see that they want to protect their general fund so that they can get as much equipment replaced as they can that's going to be self-funded. It's going to net out to zero. It's going to pay for the bond and the interest, and that way you don't have that future liability going against your general fund to replace that equipment. But what's critical is that the savings and the guarantees are real. It doesn't help if somebody says, we'll find you 30% savings, and there's really 20% there, and after you get the loan and are stuck with the loan, that other 10% doesn't materialize and they're off the hook for it. You want to catch that up front, and you want it to be very safe and secure when you make a motion going forward. And the last thing I'll make, and I'll get off my soapbox here, but usually when these contracts come before a board, what most districts don't realize is normally when a board votes on a contract, your attorney has looked at the contract. They've looked at the whole contract. So when you say, are we good to go with this? You are. On these projects, most of it, 90 or 95% of it is technical. And so the attorneys will not review that part of a 150-page contract. All your risk is in that part of the contract. So when the attorney hands it back and says, we've reviewed this after 30 to 60 days of negotiating with the vendor, all they've negotiated is the terms and conditions.
Right.
They haven't even reviewed over 90% of the contract. And most districts don't realize that when they go to approve it.
And I think the first point that you brought up, that, you know, the concern is that we're not going to realize the savings. I think, you know, very prudently, our board had mentioned that they were very concerned that these weren't real savings and that this was going to cost our taxpayers more in the long run. I think going through.
If it's not done right,
Right.
that is exactly the way many of the projects end up. If it's done well, then it's a great idea. You're just shifting money from the utility company into your own facilities.
Right.
So we don't have any utility employees here tonight, do we?
They're off living the good life because we give them a lot of our money.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit more, and we'll be coming back to you with some more conversation about this as we move forward. I can tell you that the issues and concerns that brought ABM to us in the beginning are still there. They're real. We do have some systems that we're very concerned about being able to maintain them, and then certainly being able to replace them without any fund available for that. So we'll be bringing this back to you.
Well, have the attorneys done anything about our boiler situation to file any papers to try and get us some relief from our extra costs?
We have talked, we've talked a little bit, I've talked with Risa also about the boiler situation, and there's a couple of different ways we can go with that. At this point, we have the boilers, we have the corrections to the boilers managed, okay? The expenses that we incurred over the course of the last 2 years on bringing those boilers in have leveled off. So we have those boilers, the systems in place. It's a closed loop system with so we have the pH and the what's the other thing? The the content of the water. We have that managed now. So now it's just a matter of routine maintenance. The question becomes, do we want to spend that money to take it through litigation for something that might net us something 5 or 6 or 7 years down the road? You know, it's a balancing act. I do have one more meeting that we're coming together with the vendors on this to see if we can get them to resolve this and perhaps give us an extended warranty on the products. That's kind of where that's sitting at.
I have a question. Who is monitoring that? I know, seeing that we've made all these changes with, our maintenance, and who does the monitoring now? Is that something that falls up under DM Burr, or, how's that being managed?
Right now, we're moving off of Hone, I believe is the water treatment company. They've been helping us. They've actually got the closed loop system water under control. They're backing off now. Jeff from JL Mechanical and Bill from DM Burr are working together on understanding how to test that. So we're gonna be moving that testing, that weekly testing, over to our general maintenance, so there's no additional costs to the district. So to answer your question, Hone is now training our people how to do this.
Okay. And will that be a continual process as,
It will be.
Okay.
It will be. We're gonna make sure that our people are cross-trained, all of our maintenance people are cross-trained on how to manage and check the pH levels and make sure that they're adding chemicals where
Because I guess I'm just concerned that as, you know, if employees change,
Turnover.
then
Right.
you don't have that training or that piece in place anymore.
Right, so that was a directive that was made to Dion Burr, that this is an expectation that we have going forward in the maintenance department. And they've agreed to that.
I also got a question for the superintendent, and I'm sure you've already either done this or been to the buildings, but could we maybe get an update from the principals on what Mother Nature's done to their buildings? Because I know we had a horrific winter, and even now today after this wind, I know, and eventually we're probably gonna have to spend some money to repair a few items. I mean, like I said, we know did the sidewalks improve at Rommel at all with the frost dropping back down? I mean, some of that cement may secure itself, but, I mean, like, I know my driveway did, but,
That one piece is still rocking.
right,
That was
and that's gonna be
really-
unsafe, so, but if we could get, if you could either do walk through the buildings or even get the principals to kind of just give you a little punch list of maybe some minor things that we may have to repair, just to get us through the school year if we don't have any, a little punch list, yeah.
We have quite a few of our parking lots where the sewers, they're
They're sinking.
they're sinking.
Yeah.
We probably have 7 right now that we've counted to date, so we'll do kind of a triage list. We'll bring back to you. Here's our emergency, this is what we have to have done
Get us through the school
immediately.
year.
Yep.
Is that the sewer or the storm drains?
I think it's the storm drains.
Storm drains,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
The next item is AT&T lease. There was a printout, of the area.
It's on the back of
Out
this
by
one.
Barth, school, AT&T needs a cell tower, and so we're looking, with putting a cell tower up there. Rebecca contacted AT&T, we took a drive around the property, and
May I?
you may.
Okay, so I went out to the property, does everybody have in front of them the map? Yep, that's the map we're looking at. So the diagram on the right is our actual Barth property.
This is the school, is what they're showing, they're just kind of showing.
There's
the
this,
guy.
this here is stapled together.
Got it.
It's in that package. It's in that package.
So what you're talking about basically is a cell phone tower they're wanting to install, not equipment in the buildings, correct?
That's correct,
Okay.
Just on property, correct?
just on the property.
So
So if you look at this map, and it helped me to look at it upside down, so this is Barth right here, if you're looking at it upside down. What's not shown on here is our baseball diamonds and all that stuff over there. That's where I was expecting them to put the tower. But when I got this map and saw that they put the tower right behind the walking track, do you see that on there?
Yeah.
And when I drove over there and looked at it, I mean, it's right there.
They've already got the tower in?
Oh, no.
They just got
This
it
is where
plot-
they're proposing that they put the tower. When I went and looked at the property, wondering why they didn't put it over in this wide open area, which is where I would have expected them to put it, there's massive power lines there, so they can't go
Right, they
into
gotta
that.
stay so far
They
away.
have to stay so far away. So the area that they're proposing to put it,
That's right in the back corner of that track towards the woods, isn't it?
it is, it's right there where the woods intersect.
trail.
But our walking track, and Mr. Thompson is here from Barth, I mean, it's right next to our walking
But
track.
we own part of those woods, so couldn't they clear out a section of that wooded area and put it back in there?
They probably could, it would increase the
Then
cost.
that way it would be away from.
Right. One of the requirements is that they have access to. And
Right.
right now, they'd have access to this, you have to have access to it, and we have to maintain that access. So for them to put something further back in, now we're gonna start incurring some costs because we have to build access.
How close is it actually in relationship to the track? How close does it come to the track?
Feet?
There's not a whole lot of room there.
There isn't.
Yeah, from where the edge of the track to the
No.
tree line's only a couple feet, isn't it?
There's,
Dimensions of the base?
of the, I gotta look at it right side up now.
50 feet by 50 feet.
Yeah.
But now also, when you talking about
The fenced area.
also correct me if I'm wrong here, when you're talking about the leasing of the towers, we're also gonna get a rental fee from them.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So we have a red line contract, so they sent us a contract, we sent a red line contract back, that here's where our position is. We are looking for $1,000 a month in rental fee, and then if they rent their tower space to any other companies, we get a percentage of that rental.
How long
as
is
well.
that contract for?
It's they're 5-year contracts with four extensions. So
How
the
long's
first-
each extension?
5.
So up to
years.
20 years?
Yes. Yeah.
And they're guaranteeing a minimum of $1,000?
It's a minimum of $1,000 for the first 5 years. After that, our red line contract was a 15% increase to the monthly fee, which also increases the rental fee because it's
Okay.
based on square footage.
Now, where I work at over here at Waste Management, we have a tower and it's by Sprint, and we get $1,250 a month.
A month.
A
Now,
month.
do they have the agreement for the rental?
The rental, yeah, it's on our property and everything. They rent the space and everything for the
Right.
tower. Actually, when they first put it in 15 years ago, they actually gave us a little bit better than that. We had free cell service
Oh,
for all the employees at the site.
Garden City Schools just had a tower put in on one of their properties.
Oh, did
It's in the
they?
paper. I don't
No, it
know
was just-
what the dollar
just
Oh, I'll
amount
call
is.
over
on
to their
site.
business officer.
The
I didn't
workers there,
realize that.
our equipment.
Their AT&T has kind of thrown a net out right now. I've talked with Woodhaven, I've talked with Dearborn. They're in those neighborhoods as well, looking to do contracts with them, so I'm not
It's
sure.
it's a revenue generating thing. I know people have talked about it before, but it's just that close to the track. That could be,
Well, how
That's-
big's the
I'm gonna
fence?
say-
How high
yeah,
is the
how-
fence? That's a-
fence will be at least 8 foot high.
At least.
And would they put any kind of greenery around it to disguise the fence, or, I mean?
Currently,
you know,
that's not listed in the contract. We could.
But we would have to maintain it.
Or mo-
Now,
or
ours-
maintain. I mean,
That's pretty-
with the city of Romulus, they maintain, like around their area, cause the city of Romulus makes them, kind of decorate the fence on the outside for, don't look like a big fence.
See, ours is where they have to maintain the shrubbery and the fence and
Right.
everything. They have to,
You know, looking at this, they're kind of
Perimeter.
in the tree line.
They'd have to move,
Yeah, 'cause
they'd have
this
to
is-
move some tree, but it's still right, I mean, where they're proposing right now is right.
And this thing is pretty big, right? It's gonna be noticeable.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Tower.
I know the technology is different, but, I mean, just while we're thinking about this, could we get it just a safety thing for the kids? I mean, I know nowadays they're so safe that they're not putting anything out bad for the kids, like any kind of radiation, but just,
That was
just,
gonna be my question.
yeah, just some kind of letter.
Like a guarantee that there's no, you'll
Yeah,
tell
however,
them.
however we get that from, I don't know,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't know if we can get it, I don't think I'd want it from AT&T, obviously, but if we can get it from somebody that, yeah, maybe an environmental group on the safety of these, yeah, I mean, the city of Romulus has them at all their fire stations, I mean, it is the way of the future, they're safe,
Right.
but I just wanna double check.
Now, do they rent, are they paying a rental fee to the?
City, yeah. And in fact, I think the city just locked the gate on it because one of them didn't adhere to the shrubberies that they had I think the one on Wayne Road at the fire station, they locked the gates. The city put a padlock on it because they didn't put the 5-foot trees or the 5-foot bushes they were supposed to do to disguise even though you can see the 300-foot tower in the air, but you still, like, there's a control room and stuff. They're probably about 100 and some feet.
Yeah, that's pretty tall.
Yeah.
I guess my only concern is, when you have things that close to, schools, kids get kinda curious,
Right.
they wanna
Right.
scale the fence, they wanna try to see how tall, how far can I kinda get up on that pole? So I would wonder if, as far as like, how are they,
Security?
keeping
Safety or
kids
security.
away from one, but then,
electrified.
the poles that they use to service it, how high up are those? I mean, because, you have kids now who,
No fear.
none whatsoever, and I
When
guess I
they
just
start-
wouldn't want, something to happen.
Well, I know the ones that we have at the fire station, they're in a fenced-in area, and then the ladder, those guys gotta do something to get to the ladder.
Okay,
So they have some kind of either door,
They're
locked
using-
door, they go inside first, I think, and then climb up.
okay.
So there's I believe the one at our headquarters is,
So it's almost like a building enclosure?
yeah, there's a building, I think.
There is a
at the
building
top.
on this property, yeah.
And I think they
Okay.
believe they go up in the building first, and then they're on the level, and then they crawl up, they climb up the ladder.
Okay.
So, but I think they have to enter the building and it's locked. And I tell you, those guys are there for security wise, they're there 3 or 4 times a day. They're always doing something on those towers.
Well, that's another issue.
Yeah, I was about to
So,
ask.
so the
Are
good
they
thing is they're
checking
there
in?
quite a bit, so that there's not a lot of,
And
curious people.
the access to this would be going right through our student programming.
I think if you talk to the people from AT&T and you express the concerns about the school, they'll probably make some kind of, some kind of conditions where they're not in there. They're not going to come to a school because they understand the security level. I know on our facility, we've had our tower there since '93, and when they come in, they always got to come through our front gate and announce they're there. And I mean, I don't know what John's tower, maybe it's something a little different, but ours, they're hardly ever there, really. Ours is, I mean, they came in one time, they said they had to readjust the repeaters. So they're hardly ever there, but we get our check every month.
And then if they did need to service it during school hours, then, could they let us know in advance, one, but then.
Well, when they do maintenance on ours, we always get a call ahead of time.
They're on the premises.
Right. Well, I guess I wouldn't want them interrupting our programming, and given the location of where it's at right now, anytime that they're there during school hours would be an interruption to student
Yeah,
programming.
I guess if they have emergency, they just have to contact the superintendent if
Right.
they had to do work or something.
Right, so we could ask them to do their.
Certain
their
hours.
Servicing, right.
I mean, but if we move forward with that, I would want that built into the contract,
Right.
just so that, years down the road, if you're talking a longevity of possibly 20 years, you need to have some history, so people know that they're checking, there's some
The one
checks and
thing-
balances in place.
The one that I mentioned that was in Garden City is on an elementary school.
Yeah, I'll contact Garden City.
And then
This is a free-
just the ones that come to ours, I mean, you never see somebody like the Comcast that have a magnetic sticker on their car door. It's always painted trucks and it has Sprint on the side, American Tower Company, and I mean, they come through my gate and I see them. I mean, so they are acknowledgeable and the guys all have IDs. I mean, they wear blue jeans, t-shirts, but they all have their IDs on and stuff. So, I mean, if that's who end up they leasing it to do the service. I mean, American Tower is great for us. We've never had an issue.
Dave, can you, please, I want to ask you too something. Can you come up to the mic?
My question was, you said it had to grant access, but does that mean they would be driving across the track and the property?
That's,
We have some damage currently where the ground was soft from the winter and someone drove back there and it's quite torn up. That's going to have to be replaced.
right.
So I would get some clarification on exactly what access means.
No, they would be driving. That's clearly stated in there. And we have to maintain a driving path. We have to maintain the access too.
Okay. So at this
And
time,
when I
there
went
is no
through there,
road, yeah.
There isn't.
They would
have to-
put the gravel in probably for the road.
They would. We would
Yeah,
probably
they would,
negotiate that
okay.
in.
But cars in the summer, not now because it's so wet, but I
Mhm.
know in the past that cars do drive.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's where that
Yeah.
recycle dumpster's at, along the side, that side, around to the back.
There is like an old driving trail there around closer to the school, but nothing
Right.
that goes back behind the track.
Right, it does, that part
Yeah,
doesn't.
so they would have to enter from either the playground, which would not be the
I
ideal
think it would be
situation,
the other
or from
side.
the other side,
Off of
but there's
the
no road that goes back there
Right.
behind the
No.
track, so.
So-
Someone would have to incur that cost too. yeah.
So knowing your property, is there another area where you feel that they could consider?
I would have thought it would be by the soccer field as well, but I didn't think about the power lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you go the other way, you're getting close to that neighborhood,
Right.
so,
No, the kids' playground too.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I see why they're choosing that, because that's the greatest distance from the lines, the neighborhood and the school,
Right.
back there in the woods, but.
But we do own quite a bit of that property back into that woods if they would consider.
If they're already
the cost
cutting
of-
back into the trees, maybe we can get them
Isn't
go
it
back another
11
20 or 30
acres that we
feet.
own?
Yeah, look like they
There's
could go
that-
back
does that
some. Maybe they don't know
encompass the
we own.
school property itself?
They could,
And-
that could be their
and
preliminary
acres?
thing, you know?
They might not know we own their property, right?
Yeah, and it may be because it would be cheaper to put it right there than to start cutting down trees and stuff.
That's
I'm sure they're
I think
looking at that as well.
That's why
Yeah,
they,
keep their costs down.
right.
Gotcha.
So how do you feel about it on your property?
I have some reservations, obviously. Anything that goes up can come down. So that makes me a little nervous to have a 300-foot tower behind the school that could potentially, under the certain circumstances, be
Extremely close.
stripped apart or blown down.
Yep.
I like the idea of creating new revenue sources. I think you have to look at things like that these days. So it's something I think definitely should be considered. But I would have some reservations about the location, perhaps if maybe there was another spot.
I know.
But
Go
I
beyond that
wouldn't,
tree line, it'd be
I wouldn't turn a blind eye to a new revenue source for sure. Yeah.
So just so that I know moving forward and having conversations with them, because I told them that I was going to have a conversation, we were gonna talk with you today. Would you like me to continue moving forward with them, sharing some of these concerns that we have? We'd like to see that tower moved back into the tree line further away from students. We don't want any.
Personally, I would like to see the conversation continue because it has been brought up before from the community about possibility of installing towers like that as a revenue generating source. And I know this, at one time, the city kind of put they stopped that a little bit, and a lot of companies quit doing it. Now they're starting to get back into it. It could be an opportunity. I mean, maybe if we get a good relationship and get our wishes granted, how we want them to service and the hours of service, and maybe on the weekends and stuff and things like that, so they're not interfering with the school days. It could possibly, potentially, maybe we can get one at the middle school or some of that. It's a revenue generating thing, but I also understand, his concerns. What can go up can come down too. So I mean, I know where we're at and where we have one at. We have had very minimal things with it at our facility, and it's been there since '93. So I mean, if I didn't have that knowledge with me, I'd probably be a little leery too. But it held up in this wind today.
They're built pretty good. They're built pretty good.
Does it describe also like how a power source would go to it? Is there any type of underground power source that has to be supplied for that building or anything that's there?
They will provide all of the power to the facility. They didn't indicate in what manner that would be provided. My assumption is that it would have to go underground because there's trees in the way.
They have a ground box, I think.
Right.
But can you, I guess, if you go back kind of can jump forward, I guess we need to find out is if they have to have that power supply, are they having to disrupt any of like the playground or the walk path in order to install the power? And if so, then they're responsible for making sure that it gets put back the way it was when they started the construction.
Well, I think in our agreement, we would only agree that the installation and of this could be done when students are not in session.
No, I understand that. I guess what I'm saying is that if the lines for, say, just, hypothetically, if the power lines have to go up under the playground, then that means that they have to uproot that whole playground system in order to install those powers. So then it needs to be put back.
Yeah.
Hopefully better than what they
Looking at
removed
this
it.
drawing, that building says that it has an equipment shelter with a generator room. And then to the right of that, it says it's a frame with an electric meter and power box on the outside of that building.
Could they,
But it's within the fenced area.
Right.
could you find out where they have one of their facilities that are close to us, and maybe the principal and maybe Margie can take a little tour of their building?
Maybe if they got a facility at a school
Yeah, have a
district.
facility, well, anywhere that's gonna be similar to this one, and kind of get the idea how it's laid out and what they have and how much power it's generating and, what kind of feed it is.
If-
Maybe get a better idea to see one.
If you want, I can find out from the company that comes in ours, and if you guys want to go over and look at that, if
Well,
that
this
helps.
is AT&T though,
Right.
what's yours?
It's part of Sprint's, what most of our.
We probably want to get whatever's close to this one.
You're gonna check with Garden City to see, maybe that might be one we can look at.
Yeah.
Garden City.
I'm sure AT&T has one around here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got them.
I'm sure it would probably fix the cell phone issues that we have in that area as well.
Yeah.
I think that's
On
what
a
they're
positive
looking to
note,
do.
Get free Wi-Fi.
It's kind of a
Well, I did write that
AT&T,
down.
give us free Wi-Fi,
Is there a
too.
way that we can get, are we AT&T or are we Sprint?
You can switch.
Because we can switch.
Switch for free.
You won't have to go and stand out in the middle of the parking lot anymore.
You wouldn't have to climb the tower anymore.
Okay. Okay, so I will move forward and continue.
Well, the next item is our summer tax collection, and that's Rebecca also. We're
You guys
moving
are
forward with that.
Keeping me busy. Okay.
Keeping her busy.
So I want to hand out to you, the reason I we definitely wanted this on the agenda, was because there's something that's coming out in the paper on April 17th. And we definitely did not want anybody blindsided by that. I have one right here.
Okay.
Is this a single sheet?
Yes. Yeah. So this is the notice of public meeting for the summer property tax levy in 2015. This is a, this is a requirement that this be posted at least 6 days in advance of the public meeting. April 28th will be the meeting where the resolution will be brought forth for the board to vote on. So this is going into the Eagle, which is a publication of Associated Newspapers of Michigan. It covers Belleville, Canton, Inkster, Northville, Plymouth, Romulus, Wayne, and Westland. So this is hitting the paper on April 17th. You note that we clearly identified that this is to institute a summer property tax levy in 2015. And I think that's probably where you're gonna get the most calls. You know, wait, summer's coming, I'm not ready for it yet. It's 2015. Okay, so on the 28th, the board will take action on approving, hopefully, a summer tax collection for 2015. On April 29th, I've been in contact with the city. They know that this resolution is being voted on. I will give them official notification of the outcome of that resolution if it does in fact change the summer tax collection agreement that we have with them. And I will work with them between April 29th and May 23rd to redo the summer tax collection agreement. We are also working with Ellen on, and once that resolution is approved, if it is approved, we'll get the information in the summer tax bill, as well as the winter tax bill, and there's several other areas that we'll be communicating this information as well. And I'll bring a full marketing plan to you at probably the May 12th meeting, once I know if the board has approved this or not. The question was asked in our study session about mortgage companies. I reached out to the city, and Stacy Page was nice enough to kind of fill me in. The question that I asked, we were wondering how mortgage companies find out about these types of changes so that escrow accounts can be properly funded. Is that something that the mortgage companies find out through city government? How does that work? She said that when the tax bills, this is from Stacy Page, when the tax bills are ready, they send a file to the mortgage companies. She's not 100% sure how the mortgage companies deal with that, so she's contacted one of their big mortgage companies that they work with a lot, and she's asking them the questions that we asked. So I expect to hear back from her this week, so I'll keep you updated on that. I know it's the board's intention to provide as much information as far in advance as we possibly can and help our residents in Romulus manage this change in taxes. And again, I know you know this is not an increase in taxes, it's just a change in the way that we're collecting it.
It's only the school taxes.
It's just the school taxes. So we'll talk again on April 28th. Any questions?
What was the date that the city, it was something about the city would be
April
announced?
29th, she's
I
gonna
will-
do an official notification to
Okay,
the
to
city.
To the city.
Right.
Yep. And then my goal is to have by May 23rd, a new tax collection agreement in place with them. We're way ahead of the game on this one, so, and that's how that's the will of the board on this.
And we're getting all of the proper pieces in place this time.
Right.
We're not missing our deadlines like we did last time, so.
Very good. The next item on the agenda is business office reorganization. We've been thinking and planning, we've had our bookkeeper took another position, and so we have a lot of openings going on. And Rebecca and I have been beating our head together to think, how can we fill these positions and yet reduce our budget? So we came up with an idea. If we reconfigure, reorganize our business office and our grant management, that we could probably all, we could come out ahead on this. One more? Oh, we got it. Do we have enough?
We do.
No, we're good. So if you see the circle, that's the position I'm looking at managing between the two, pushing them together. Remember when Mr. Dixon was here and he talked about the grants not being utilized and we're not keeping a close eye on all of that? And also, this would be our bookkeeping, our, all of that, which could fall down into the other accounts, the other two places too. So this business office and grant manager would be in charge of our Title I, our at-risk, just managing the funds of those. Not writing them, not doing that, but just managing the funds. So the positive is that we would have a day-to-day operation supervisor who has a school accounting background. And this position, they would be in charge of the grants, managing, monitoring, making sure that the Title I money's got out to the buildings in a timely manner. And then by doing that, we've eliminated 2 positions for this one. We've eliminated that book, Tracy's position, the bookkeeping one, because this person would have the responsibilities. And we used to have a secretary for the grants and curriculum director. That would be sucked up into that position also.
Okay.
So by doing all of that, we did a little cost analysis down here. We would save between 20 and 25 and benefits for the part-time curriculum. That part-time curriculum of the grants and curriculum. And then if we eliminated the vacancy, which was done in our business office, with the 40, that would be about 41 plus benefits. And then another positive, if we did this position, we could charge some of that to a grant and it would pick up some of the salary. And so we're looking at maybe a net impact between 2025 plus the benefits.
So, Margie.
It's a lot to take in, but
Yeah, let me ask a question. So that means we will not have a grants and curriculum person anymore?
no, we would have to have the curriculum person and the grants person to write the grants, to oversee the curriculum. This would be the person managing the money part of those.
Which makes sense, because it probably should be in the business office anyway.
Right, and then keeping, it all straight that we're spending our title money where it needs to be spent on the things that it can be spent on and all of those things.
And then that person would be supervisor over accounts payable and payroll benefits.
Right.
So the head bookkeeper position, I'm not sure what all was done back there. There's a lot going on in that business office, so that would be absorbed into all of this. So those duties would be split up between 2 people or 1 person, or how would that go?
It would be split up between those 3.
Okay, so each one would take some responsibility,
Right.
a piece of that.
Right, so we're utilizing our employees to the max.
Well, that, and that office manager is a supervisory position too.
Just
Okay. Okay, so now the grants, this other, question I have. So the grants and curriculum director, will they still need a support person?
They will, but see where it's coming to? It's coming down to that position.
so they won't have a
They
person.
won't have a secretary.
Okay, I
We're
think
not
that's what
doing
she was
a
That's what I
asking.
was asking.
Right,
Okay.
Right.
no. Because then, my thought is, That secretary, the superintendent secretary can take on some of the curriculum secretarial parts, aspects of it.
So that, with like scheduling meetings and
Right, right.
taking phone calls and messages and that kind of thing. Writing any correspondence that needs to be mailed or sent out. Clear.
And then that business office and grants manager, would that person then be the one doing, like, I know that we had forms that we had to fill out before for like Title I, and that person would be doing those forms and submitting them to the government or whatever that we do yearly.
Right.
to
Those
get
are all
those
fiscal,
funds.
those are all fiscal
Right.
compliance elements that.
Right.
And that would go back to, also our director of business and finance would be over this
That
person.
manager.
Yeah, and plus the grants and curriculum person would be watching.
Okay.
So this is doable.
It's doable, plus we save some money to our general fund. One reason is we can write off the position for, out of the grants.
Because we're putting that into a salary position, it allows us to use a function code that we previously weren't able to use. So now we can use that and use some of the grant funds to support the cost of that position.
I gotta absorb this a little bit. Look at it.
So you're saying the savings is gonna be between 20 and 25,000 plus the benefits roughly?
So this would basically, would be like 3 positions that we've kind of combined? Or am I missing, is it just 2, just the 2? The bookkeeper and the
And the
secretary?
The
Just the 2?
curriculum grant
So
secretary.
just those 2, right?
Right.
So before, did the bookkeeper do the payables and the payroll?
No.
Payroll, it was payroll, that was by itself.
What did the bookkeeper do? I mean, I'm.
She was always busy, she was always busy.
Is there
There's a
a,
lot
You
of
talk to that.
She does all the,
Books.
the monthly journal entries, she manages the banking, she does the receivables, any financial reports, state fund, the annual, the big one, the big FID report that has to be submitted. She would, in
Benefits.
year end,
Did she do benefits?
she did, but we've moved that to the payroll.
do you have I know we do, I don't know exactly what it's called.
Job
Yeah,
description?
where it shows out what list of what, can I get one of those, please? Or can we have one of those,
For,
or anybody else
for
want one?
which ones do you want?
For the bookkeeper.
Yeah,
I
cause
was
I'm
just
just
like,
trying to get an
let's
understanding of
understand
how,
what-
yeah, for all of them,
Yeah,
'cause I'm
maybe
really
just
trying to
little-
understand
little-
this a
like
little better.
job description of all these on
Yeah.
the flow chart, would that be okay? Like for the 3 right there that we, like the business officer, grant manager, accounts payable, payroll, benefits,
Yeah, they should all have job descriptions.
and, and if we're eliminating them and
Right.
who's gonna take the,
No, we're not eliminating accounts payable.
no, right.
I
Or
know
just
you guys
combining.
changing and rearranging.
It just seems like payroll and benefits should be under the HR department, really. but
They
Right.
Could
kind
be
of,
wrong.
they kind of do report to both of us, that office. They work between both
Both of them.
offices.
With the reduction of about, what, 70, 80 people, it seems like we could eliminate one of them.
I guess if this is what you guys say we could do, I just wanna make sure that, nothing falls through the cracks and it comes back well.
Well, right now, things are
No.
falling through the
Oh,
crack.
I
You
agree.
remember that, our
sure.
grants not being out to our schools being utilized.
Not to mention our regular.
And don't we lose that, is that money we lose shortly?
No, we're not.
No, I'm saying that
Yeah.
could be money we lose, right?
For grant.
We don't have somebody watching yet.
And we're gonna be scheduling another study session, so to go for our board goals again, we can put this on there probably that day for the topic of discussion with the job descriptions. Would that be doable?
That give you enough time to get them.
Right, we have a vacancy in the business office, so, I mean, I don't wanna put pressure on you, but we do have to make some decisions as to which direction we're going with, because the business office can't operate for an extended period of time with a brand-new director of business and operations, and then
Can it wait till the next board meeting, do you think?
I need time to
Well,
process.
action, you're asking for action on this for the next board meeting, not tonight, correct?
No, I'm asking for direction as to where you want me to go, move forward. Do you want me to move forward with this? Do you want me to post a position? Do you want to wait to post it until you've had a chance to look at?
I would need to look at all this stuff, because this alone for me is just, it's a lot to process. And I don't know what questions I have, because to be honest with you, with some of these positions, I'm not really familiar enough with to know really what their responsibilities are consist of.
Okay, we have, I guess my question would be, we have a posting up now for business manager, right? So that person, would
That's
that
still high,
person be
too.
this business office and grants manager?
That person would be director of business and operations.
So they'll be up here.
Right. He's looking over
So this is a whole
transportation,
different thing. Okay, I get
transportation,
you.
custodial, and the business office.
Got you,
That's
okay,
what
okay.
our finance director would do.
I'm there,
And then
I see,
we've lost the bookkeeper,
I see.
so instead of putting a bookkeeper back in there that just did the books and didn't do anything with the grants, which we had issues with, we were trying to create a position that would take both of those
We'll put it in one.
and move it into one. It might be distributing some other jobs to accounts payable and payroll, so
Gotcha.
that
Maybe like
it would
both
be
is-
accomplished.
Okay.
So we either need to go back to just saying that we want a bookkeeper, or do we want
The combined
to
position.
rearrange, reorganize?
Okay.
Do we have like a master org chart, Rebecca? Do you have one that just says like superintendent and boom, HR and then all the people
I don't know.
that fall under
I don't
there,
know
the
if we have-
principals?
Right, I don't know if we have an updated one, since, I don't know if Dr. Daniels did have an updated one. No.
Yeah, but I mean, the org chart, I mean, it's,
They should remain the same, but they just be vacant.
uh,
I see what you're saying.
cause I mean, I don't see.
Well, if you'd add
HR.
one more box above this, you'd have the superintendent.
And
You'd have
HR,
to-
right?
No, you'd have to add one box to the right of the grants and curriculum
HR.
director
That
to
would
be
be
the
HR.
HR.
Is that it, what you're
And then
looking
you
for?
bring your HR all the way down to,
Is this,
Um,
is this what you're looking for? I got this when I first got here from Carl.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember doing
Yeah,
that
I
one.
see
That was
Yeah.
from Carl.
Updated.
So, I don't know how up to date it is, but that's what I got.
Yeah, I think this is the same one I.
should have made copies first.
Margie, what were you saying?
You want me to roll my copies?
As long as we know how monitored, yeah, I mean, I saw the same one, do we know, was this our last updated?
You need to look at it and see.
Yeah,
We just put a timestamp here on that?
You have to look
See
at
if
it.
it's-
Just-
make copies of it.
Like what positions are gone and what aren't gone?
Yeah, we don't have,
I think if I need.
Yeah,
to
that's what I'm
update
saying,
it.
we don't have a new.
Yeah,
or
we
the
easier to
curriculum.
and
update it.
we've, yeah, we've kind of modified where some of these folks are reporting to, because,
Do you want a copy of that to modify it?
actually, I
And then
did,
you can
I
give
did
us
this
one?
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have that on
So
file
we'll,
then?
we will, I'll make sure
Update
that Mrs. McNally has it so we can get it updated.
Okay, and then
Awesome.
we'll get a copy.
Yeah, that's the last one I've had right there.
Right.
Okay.
what directions do
So what direction do we wanna give them?
we need some direction here?
Well, we gotta put somebody in the bookkeeping, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we gotta keep up on that.
I guess your question is what you post for.
right? If you're posting for a bookkeeper or if you're posting for this person.
Right.
That's pretty much what you're asking.
And I think timing wise, I think we can go ahead and defer this if the board wants to have some time to think about it and to formulate some questions, and we can talk about it before this board meeting. We can put some temporary actions in place so that we make sure that our business office is still functioning well. And
I
that's,
think we definitely need to do that, because we don't need to.
The position for, is it April, it was at the, April 17th was the last
Right, for
That's her last day.
resignation.
position, is it?
right.
Now, was this discussed with the, recent person that's been helping us, changing this organization this way? The business consultant that's been coming to.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. This was actually his, he didn't take credit for it. This was kind of his brainchild of how he sees, business offices managing well. One of the things that he pointed out to us, and I'm sure you as well, it's very important that we have a stable and consistent business office. We've gone through a lot of turnover, and we're trying to build a system that will build internal capacity, as well as make sure that our finances are being managed consistently and well. The one thing that is a common thread between school districts that are in financial stress and continued financial stress is nonstop turnover in the business office. And that's something we're trying to build capacity and change that within our own system.
So do we have, would that person possibly be the backup so that if the payroll person is off, that she can
Yes.
do it? If the accounts payable is off, they can do it?
This system, and it's very astute that you picked that up very quickly, this would allow us to do that. So we've got cross-training on everything. So if for some reason we lose somebody, well, we
We're
can
not starting
continue.
from zero.
We can continue our operations without going into crisis mode. We're building a plan of action, kind of like our crisis response manual that we referred to today, as we dealt with some crises in the building. We're trying to build that capacity right in our business office. Really at central office. I mean, this is really a significant and important restructure for the operations of the entire district.
So you guys will get us the information then then we can discuss it again at the next board meeting?
So I'm gonna bring job descriptions for all the positions, the duties and responsibilities, as well as an updated organization chart, updated proposed organization chart.
Right. Is that what everybody needs?
Sounds good to me. If there's anything else, they can.
And then just
No,
email
I'm
me
on
if you
the
guys have
salaries.
another question.
So you can readjust it?
Should we put the salaries on there?
Absolutely, I will, on the
Okay.
job postings. Your job descriptions will essentially be job postings. That's how we catalog our job descriptions. So it will have a salary range on there.
Okay.
Then the next items are, you should have received in your packet the Wingspan newspaper, Wicks newsletter, Romulus Elementary's newsletter, Young Street's newsletter, and Park's newsletter. And that will end my report.
I think that also with these items of interest, you also should have a card in here for the senior awards night, an invitation. And there's a requirement on there to RSVP by May 9th if you're gonna go to the senior awards night
I didn't
banquet.
get one of those.
It should be,
No,
There was
because I
two
got my
envelopes.
packet early.
it should be on your desk.
It was on the desk, they were all on the
Right
desk.
here, right here. That's
See
it.
it? Oh, okay. My bad.
So I just wanted to bring your attention that just there's an RSVP requirement on one of them. Actually, both of them, but the one is for the senior awards night. Okay, the next item on the agenda is update on the superintendent search. You guys should have received an email from Marie Miller. letting us know that the process for giving us our information regarding the applications has changed, that you don't go through Aaron now. So what's gonna happen is that, when the applications are still gonna close at noon on April 16th. And then on Monday afternoon, April 21st, each board member will get a link that you will click on, and then you'll be able to see all of the applications. You're gonna receive them online. And then I will have hard copies of those applications at your place for the May 5th meeting when we review the applications. Let's see, what else did she say? You're still gonna have, so between April 21st and May 5th, we're still gonna have 2 weeks you'll have 2 weeks that you can review them. She is not gonna be available from April 20th to April 30th. But Kelly Jones, who's at MASB, if you have any questions, you can contact Kelly Jones. And I'll send everybody an email with Kelly's phone number. I don't have it on here. She's asking that as you review the applications, you use the search criteria that the board said that we had discussed. And in that superintendent search booklet that we all got, pages 27 through 29 of that handbook, she says we can use them as a source of reference in reviewing the applications. By May 5th, if you're able to, can you please rank order of the candidates based on your preference, and that'll aid in our screening on May 5th. And she wanted me to extremely stress this to all of us, that all of the information that you receive must remain confidential. The candidates are only going to be referred to by numbers. They won't be referred to by name at all. They only identify the candidates by name once an invitation's been given for an interview. So during the whole screening process, they'll only be referred to by number. And none of the information, it's confidential between MASB and the board only at that point. And then if anybody, like she says, anybody has any concerns or questions, contact either her, or during that period that she's not available, contact Kelly Jones.
Okay, so she wants them to be ranked by what day again?
We have a meeting already scheduled for May 5th, so she just kind of have an idea in your head, your personal rank of how you want them ranked.
How would you rank them, 1 through whatever?
Okay.
So that's the only thing I have right now. Next is communications and expressions from the public. Do we have anything? No? Okay, nobody? All
Yeah,
right.
that's you. Did you want to come up?
Did you?
Oh, better. You didn't fill out a card.
No, that's okay, just come up to the
That never worked when I was in school.
No, on behalf of Barth Elementary, we wanted to say thank you for the school board coming over and providing the pancake breakfast for the kindergarten kids. They really enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed your time there. And again, on behalf of our school, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the tour.
From afar.
And I'd like
You gotta
to
use the
say,
microphone, ma'am.
I'd like to say thank you to Tom and John, because I know that they went and did most of those breakfasts, and we really appreciate your efforts, or at least I do anyway. So-
Tom actually
Yeah,
got
we
there.
do.
Tom got there a lot earlier than me and had everything set up. I had the easy job. I just showed up and had to do a few quick things.
We do appreciate it because we are all getting credit for it, and you and John did all
And
the
you
work.
guys did the work.
So I certainly appreciate it.
All for one.
My niece thinks that you guys are the greatest.
Since I couldn't ditto that from afar, I'm just going to say run as fast as you can. You can't catch him. He's the pancake man. And on behalf of Hill Creek School, I would like to thank not only Mr. Kuderick, Mr. Theed, Margie McAnally, Superintendent McAnally for coming over. And I mean, they were very hands-on, rolled up their sleeves. Not only that, but surprised a few other classes that weren't expecting. It started out as a kindergarten pancake event, and we had 5th grade classes and other classes throughout the district who were pleasantly surprised by their visit. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
And if I could just also say, one of our lieutenants on the fire department also came over, Matthew Wilhite, on 2 of the
Oh,
schools
yes,
and
Matthew
helped out.
Wilhite, you're right.
So,
Thank you very much. Now I have questions and concerns of board members. Mr. Kudrick.
Okay, I'll start so everybody got it. I want to thank all the ones that, I don't know if everybody saw some of these thank you cards that the students made, but I'll pass them around. They said thank you, the world's best pancakes, and
I won't go that far, but I tasted one
hey,
of them.
I didn't hear. I heard that from somebody else. It was
They were
really
thin and
but all of them, what they put in here, they wrote their comments in here. It's pretty cool. We can't forget a couple other people. Superintendent Ms. McAnally helped out quite a bit, and then also Kathy Noed from the Chartwells. She made sure that we had all the stuff. But you know, when you get over there making the pancakes, you know, you just start making them, and you have a few extra, and it really went out pretty good. Me and John had a lot of fun taking them to the classrooms, and especially Rommel. We convinced all the students that Mr. Theed has worked very hard by his wife, and that he needs a raise and should sit at home on Sunday and watch football. And so when his wife got home from work, he wanted to know what was going on. He blamed it on me. But all the students were great. There was a young man over in Montroy's room. Cam, he came through the line. He goes, "Do I get pancakes?" I says, "No." He goes, "Well, our class would like them." Well, he didn't know we were going to take pancakes to him, but I think he was the number one student that day with everybody in class. So he was the perfect one to get it. And we fed the preschoolers over at Barth and the kindergartners, and it was kind of nice seeing some of the faces. I mean, Ms. Flinkman didn't know they were coming, but she put a comment on Facebook that it would be nice to have pancakes, you know. And then Mr. Theed's former teacher came in and said, "Oh, I wished I was a kindergarten teacher," and that was like, well, okay, forget this. Now we got to go. But it really worked out pretty good. I mean, Mr. Theed, Mr. Wilhide, Ms. McAnally, Kathy Noed, everybody would, I mean, it was probably about the easiest project we've ever done. Everything just worked great all the time. It was
Yeah,
very
and
simple.
like Tom said, thank our staff because we made a mess, and all but one school they had everything cleaned up.
Yeah,
before
we'd
we
get
got
back after delivering pancakes to the rooms, and they would all be cleaned up. So we kept delivering pancakes to the rooms.
I think at Rommel we only had to wash 2 pans. They had almost everything done at
Yeah.
Rommel by the time we came back.
Hill Creek was the best. They had everything cleaned up for us.
And Barth was good.
Yeah, Barth was pretty good too. So was Rommel.
But Rommel, I think we stole one of them to go with us, so we took a staff member away to.
Yeah, they forget. They were all, the students were just great. They were all good, and we got invited, me and Mr. Theed got invited for next week. We have to cook lunch for the summer school at Rommel.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how we said yes on that one.
You said yes, Tom.
John said he would do it if I would do it, so.
Ms. Bowles?
No, I don't have anything.
Mrs. Crowe?
I don't have anything either.
Mr. Theed?
Oh, we did actually challenge the 5th grade class at Barth too for if they win the spelling contest
that's
coming
right.
up, we'll buy them a pizza party. So
They
the
have to
Barth
win
school
through-
has a challenge to beat the other 3
Right.
elementaries.
If Barth comes out with the number 1 for the district, me and Mr. Theed are going to take pizza over to that classroom. So then all of a sudden, everybody pulled out their spelling words. You guys got ice
I
cream
hope
for a
so.
3rd grade class over there.
Mrs. Buckley?
I just want prayers to go out to, there's 2 twins on the high school basketball team, Lalani and Lashani. They lost their dad. Mr. Wright, the funeral is this week. I'll have to get all the details, but they are high school students, and I know it hit them pretty hard. They had a banquet for their high schoolers, for the team, probably about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and he was insistent that they have it then at the rec because he wanted to make sure he was there. Then he went out of town on a business trip, and they found him dead in his room. Wow. So he made, during the games, he made the big fat, remember the big fat heads they had of all the girls? He made those. He was always taking videos of them. He was the picture guy. Just really sad. So it really hit the girls really, really hard. And I know it affected the whole school. So they're juniors and they're identical twins. So have the prayers go out to the family.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Funderburg?
Yes. Okay, so, it's on Facebook earlier today, and Saw a message from our House Representative Doug Geis, who said that, great news, they got the $1 million approved, and it's a law now for the receiving districts who absorb the dissolved school districts. So Inkster and Buena Vista. Yeah, so I'm sure that we'll probably be hearing from Wayne Risa in regards to what that's going to look like on our end as far as the money is concerned. But I just wanted to say thank you to our House Representative Doug Geis for working very diligently on making sure that we were to at least get some sort of reimbursement, if anything, on the buildings that we have now inherited. So wanted to let you all know that. Let's see, May 15th at 6:30, the Wayne County Association of School Boards is having a general membership meeting, and our guest speaker is going to be Mr. John Austin from the State Board of Education. And so that'll be our opportunity to kind of find out what direction the state of Michigan
What
is
day is
going
it?
in and redefining.
That's our
What
awards
ti-
banquet.
What time?
That's
It's, I know
Senior
it's the
awards
same
night.
night
Yeah.
as the awards night. It starts at 6:30 and then dinner is served at 6 p.m.
Okay.
But I just wanted to let you know that decision day for our high school seniors is May 16th, which is that Friday, from 12 to 2 p.m., and you're all invited. It's going to be in the auditorium, and that's the day that we celebrate the decisions of our seniors of pursuing their post-secondary decisions. So whether they're going to college or going to trade school or off to the service, that's our opportunity to kind of give them a pat on the back and just, say that we're excited about them making that decision. And then I just saw this today, April 16th, at Barth Elementary. They are having a Night Under the Stars. I'm kind of interested in that. Would love to think of myself as an astronomer, but but that starts at 6:30 to 9 p.m. and they're going to have telescopes set up, and they're asking for a $1 donation to kind of help for expenses, and their parent group is going to be serving, refreshments and snacks and that kind of thing. So join Barth Elementary on April 16th at 6:30. And then on May 1st, our band boosters are having a spaghetti dinner. I don't have the cost of the tickets, but I do know that that's going to be at 6
Usually
p.m.
about between $6 and $8.
Yeah. So, and I was hoping that Ms. Garrison would stay so she could kind of fill in the gaps, but as soon as I get some additional information, I can either shoot you an email, or I still have an opportunity to announce it at our April 28th, but I just wanted to give you all a heads up that it is coming up and it's on May 1st. Now, unfortunately, that's also
MASB
at the
night.
same
MASB night. yeah.
for the MASB Awards night, so,
Here we go.
I'll be at the band boosters. All right, so that's it for me.
Okay, and the only thing I was gonna kind of mention again is just kind of doing what Danielle's doing, is going through the calendar here. We have some science fairs coming up, on the 16th, I believe is the one that you mentioned with Barth. And then also WIC is having their science fair also on the 16th from 4:30 till 6. And then Hale Creek's, your science fair is in May, on the 8th. Okay.
That's going to be a busy day.
May 8th is changed to
May
May
15th?
15th. Okay. And then the spelling bee that Mr. Kudrick mentioned, the district spelling bee, which was really cool, I went to the one last year that they did at the high school, is on May 22nd. And that's in the morning, I believe, at 9:30 in the morning. And it's in the auditorium at the high school. And that's when all three of the elementary schools come together and we find who our champion of champions is.
4 of them.
4 of them? That's right, 4
Four,
elementary schools. Sorry.
Be root for 8.
And then, let's see, what else do we have?
She was
coming
good
up?
at spelling, not at math.
Right. And I just wanted, the other thing I wanted to state was that, also, 28th, I will not be here. So Danielle will probably be running our meeting on the 28th. I'll be out of town at a conference, so, and then Student of the Month is on the 29th of April. And I think that's it. And I just wish everybody have a safe, spring break.
Hey, can we say the bad word of snow? It could happen tonight.
know.
Can you say that?
Man.
And speaking of the Nights of the Stars, there's going to be a blood moon tonight too.
Right,
Half the house.
But you may not see it because it might be snowing.
right.
I will not have that.
Snow day tomorrow.
Okay, so I think that covers everything.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mr. Theed. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned, 8:05.
Yeah, the power out at 4 of them.